action ahead of us, Bob.
Well, the indoor game is an action-packed game, and both teams play a very aggressive style of play. So penalties are going to happen. Matter of fact, two of the young men, one on each side, are going to sit this game out. Pisano of the Invaders, because of the accumulation of 20 penalty minutes through the season, and Boro Sucevic of Milwaukee, who got into an incident in the last match, and his coach has suspended him for 2 games.
As we mentioned, Canton leading the AISA with a record of 17-7. Matter of fact, they defeated the second-place Louisville earlier this week, while on the other side of the ledger, Milwaukee has lost 7 straight games in a slump right now with a record of 9-14.
Well, Milwaukee started very well, and to David Johnson's credit, he's following the philosophy of the league as closely as or more closely than the other individuals, other club owners, because it is a developmental league. So he has a very young team who lives and dies because of effort. They do have 2 extraordinary players, and Tommy Aliotto, who was involved in the wave accident and consequently is not playing this evening, and Peter Knesic, who is one of the top assist men in the league. But they live and die on effort. On the other hand, Canton is a very experienced team, has the top goalkeeper, Mike Barbaric, in the game, in the AISA game, as well as 3 of the top 10 scorers in Kia, Artie Kramer, number 9, and John Dolinsky, number 2.
We'll be back with the tip-off. American indoor soccer action right here on Milwaukee Public Television. Everything coming your way in just a moment. From the Milwaukee Auditorium at Mecca, Milwaukee Public Television brings you AISA Soccer, featuring last night's game between the Canton Invaders and the Milwaukee Wave. Welcome back to the auditorium. Adrian Sakowitz along with Bob Gansler. Currently you see from the Mecca floor, the Canton Invaders, the division leaders in the AISA, are being introduced. They bring a mark of 17-7 into the game. There you see them coming out on the field. In the background you hear Mike Binney, the public address announcer here at the auditorium. Shortly will be coming out the Milwaukee Wave, the home Milwaukee Wave, riding a 7-game losing streak, having some problems as of late. They've slipped in the standings considerably because of those 7 games. Here you see the standings. Canton in first, 17-7. Louisville, earlier this week, Canton beat Louisville. Louisville's in second, but look, only 1 game down in the loss column. Columbus in third, Kalamazoo in fourth, Milwaukee in fifth, 9-14, although they're out-averaging everybody else as far as attendance-wise in this league. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. And Chicago, the 6th-place team currently in the AISA. A lot of action coming up from the auditorium. If you've never seen indoor soccer, it's quite a bit of activity. And the goalkeeper you see for Canton tonight, Mike Barbaric, the leading goalkeeper in the league, averaging only 5 goals a game giving up, which is tremendous statistics for indoor soccer. We're going to be meeting the Milwaukee Wave. There you hear the Wave in the background, as you see Barbaric getting himself psyched up for this indoor soccer match. There's even a guy dressed here in a Hawaiian shirt, so they take their Wave seriously. The background music, jump, that's what they'll be doing a lot of tonight. This guy crawled out for this game right from the beaches of Lake Michigan. As you can see, the Milwaukee Wave will be introduced now. Mike Binney, let's join him in progress. Mike Binney, the public address announcer here at the auditorium, and there you see the members of the Milwaukee Wave.
Are you ready, Milwaukee? I can't hear you, Milwaukee. I said, are you ready? All right, led by team mascot Dave the Wave. Here are your Milwaukee Waves. A goalkeeper, number 1, the animal, Matt Clark. Number midfielder, number 25, Steve Swanson. Defender Kurt Sievers is injured and not in uniform. The Waves trainer is Larry Sales. The head coach, Mr. Dave Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen,
the Milwaukee Waves, very loud and enthusiastic crowd here from the auditorium. It's probably the first time I've ever seen a guy introduced as the Animal running out with a couple of carnations in his hand. But an enthusiastic crowd here. Now we're going to have our national anthem before the activity begins. There's Dave Johnson, the head coach of the Milwaukee Wave. Let's all rise and join our national anthem before tonight's game.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and though there was no bomb bursting in air, came through to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, see does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The senior referee for tonight's game, Al Klonitis. The referee is Carl Beck, and the assistant referee is Steve Simos. There you see the gentleman gathering some pregame information, testing out the game ball. Bob Gansler, the head coach of UWM, joining me in the booth for tonight's game. And Bob, indoor soccer, quite a novel activity, especially for these parts of the country. The Chicago Sting down in Chicago has been at it for several years, and the Wave up here making their mark on the Milwaukee area.
Well, Milwaukee, is, because of its conservative nature, it always seems to lag behind a little bit in these matters. We are in the process right now of putting up our first 2 indoor centers, and the Wave certainly has generated a lot of enthusiasm here. I think within a number of years we will be like the Chicago area or even Kansas City or St. Louis. The nature of our weather here almost demands that we come inside, and this new brand of the game with the boards is catching on very quickly here.
Starting lineups, there you see Canton's starting lineup. It's going to be Barbaric in goal, Dolinsky, Kondrich, Tobin, Kramer, and Davidson. For the Milwaukee Wave, Matt Clark in the goal, Michael Cox at center, Peter Knezich, one of the fine players, Helmut Immig, Tim Sedlacek, and Scott Westbrook. You've never seen an indoor soccer game sit back. A lot of activity. The ball flies all over the place. Knezich looking things over before they get the first touch and the ball will get into action. As you know, in indoor soccer, anywhere inside the playing surface, the ball is in play. It can bounce off the walls, bounce off the glass where there is glass. Our vantage point, which is almost at midfield here, has no glass, so if a ball comes our way, it'll just have to duck. There's no other alternative, but some rocket shots are fired all around the perimeter of this field, which is 185 feet long. A lot of room to roam. 5 players, a couple of defenders, a center, a couple of wingers, and a goalie for each side makes up the attackers. The Invaders moving from our left to our right, wearing red. The Milwaukee Wave wearing the white shirts and the blue trunks. Picked up right away in goal by Matt Clark. To Immig. Drops it off, and the Wave is on the attack. Sedlacek in a little bit of traffic. Gets tied up, and the ball taken away from by Tobin. Now the Invaders, with a record of 17-7, having a fine year, leading the AISA. Get the ball down, coming right in front of us, bouncing over the railing, and it'll be a kick for the Invaders. You just joined us. We're at the Milwaukee Auditorium. The Canton Invaders taking on the Milwaukee Wave in American Indoor Soccer Association action. Matt Clark, a save. for the Milwaukee Wave. Throws it out to the midfield stripe, taken down on that play. A foul called against the Invaders, as we'll see here. Taken down that time by Vic Davidson. There you see it's just a foul. No penalty for that one. A penalty puts you away in the box for 2 minutes. However, a foul only gets assessed against your team, and 6 fouls. A shot right on goal that time. Beautiful save of the net by Barbarick. Nice shot taken by Cox. And both teams starting off squirming back and forth, getting a couple shots on goal. And these games are high-scoring affairs. 7-6 have been both final scores so far at the games played at the auditorium between these two teams. And Bob, there's a lot of activity going on. You score 13 goals in a game, you got to be taking a lot of shots.
Well, that's one of the beauties of this indoor game. Sometimes they're up to 70 shots on each side, and that's what the fans come to watch.
Save that time by Matt Clark of the Invaders. His third save. Going to his knees, he picked that one up and rolls it out. Matt Clark diving to his right to stop that one.
Matt Clark is a newcomer here, and from talking to Tommy Alioto, the Waves' injured star, he says that he has done very well in the last 2 games, and this is his 3rd starting assignment in a row.
Earlier this week, Milwaukee was stuck in Indianapolis because of snow for a while. A shot off the boards on the attack, and Barbarick clears it for the Invaders. One of the truly exciting parts of the game, as you know, Bob, is kicking it on the offensive side against the glass and looking for those rebounds. Players cutting through the crease. Kind of similar to hockey, except the crease is so much bigger, and you've got a lot of room in that penalty area to roam.
Well, that's a goalkeeper's nightmare, because it's against everything that the man has to do outside. He's got to change his entire thinking. Also, defenders usually feel very safe when the ball goes by them, but now it's more dangerous than ever.
Hodgson for the Wave. Nice save by Barber with a rebound and a goal. Milwaukee Wave draws first blood at the auditorium. Watch this. Hodgson with the blast. Barbarick gets her foot on it. The rebound comes out to the side, and a beautiful corner angle shot taken that time. Out of the side, John Salazar connects. Salazar, a 21-year-old from Racine, connects and gives the Milwaukee Wave a 1-0 lead over Canton. Right off the bat, about 2 minutes, 43 seconds into the game, we've got a 1-0 score in favor of the Wave, and a steal now.
Handball.
But it's on goal and kicked back up by Barbarick. Beautiful shot by Salazar.
Well, that last goal was a combination of 2 Milwaukee youngsters, Dave Hodgson from the Bavarians and Johnny Salazar from Racine. And there's going to be a lot of these type of chances at goal. The rebound off goalkeepers and the rebound off the backboards.
A 1-0 lead for the Wave. It'll be the Waves ball, but in the last 2 games played between these two teams right here at this auditorium, Milwaukee has jumped out to leads in both games. One of the leads dissipated quickly, and they ended up losing a nice tip try that time by Sedlacek, but saved by Barbarick. Now Lola coming up for the Invaders. Broken up nicely by Cox. Cox off the boards, and it'll be the Milwaukee Waves ball. 11:38 to go in the opening quarter. The Wave 1, the Canton Invaders nothing. Sedlacek working right in front of our vantage point. Now drops it down in the Invader zone. The Wave on the attack. Drops a shot near Barbarick. And the Invaders side off the board, and Barbarick will clear. The goalie, as you know, can touch the ball with his hands if he is within that boxed area 25 feet out from the net. After that, he has to use his feet or head only. Kia on the attack, working on Cox. Kia working a shot across the crease. Clear to the other side, a ball coming right out in front and picked up by Sedlacek. Wave having some trouble clearing. Killingsworth a shot wide and picked up at the red line. Milwaukee trying to control. Now they've got it, and get the ball out to the midfield area. Peter Kinesic knocks it down ahead of him for Immig. Immig couldn't control, and it's picked up by the Invaders.
indoors, you're almost playing a two-man advantage when you're on offense because of the potential of playing an actual wall pass as you're going forward. And this is what results in so many shots on goal.
That's exactly what happened for the first goal of the game. You already saw it. It bounced through the goalie, and Salazar dropped it in for a 1-0 Milwaukee lead. Now the Wave on the attack. A blast out front is knocked down by Kramer, and a shot high up into the crowd that time. An errant shot taken.
Milwaukee's endeavoring to catch Canton on the transition. Canton, the first 5 times down the floor, set up in type of a zone defense. And Milwaukee now, with their line changes, have been trying to get into transition type of a game.
Barbaric, the goalie for the Invaders, motions down. He can throw the ball down the field, but it cannot cross all 3 lines. Otherwise, the ball gets brought back down into the Invader zone. There are no offsides in this game, but you just cannot kick the ball over 3 consecutive lines. There'll be a stoppage of play, and it'll be Milwaukee's ball. A warning from the referee.
Don Tobin got a little too vociferous over there with Swanson checking him into the boards, and that is, of course, one of the dangerous plays in this game.
It surely is. Matt Clark, goalie for the Wave, now clears his zone with 9.5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. There you see high above Barbaric. That's the way he sees it, but a little bit lower, and coming up on the attack for the Invaders is Kramer. Kramer tries to pass, is knocked out of the way by Cox and picked up by Matt Clark.
Got that quick outlet pass from Clark to Swanson. Again, Milwaukee trying to beat the Canton down the floor.
It'll be Milwaukee's ball. Milwaukee already with a 1-0 lead. We're still very early in this American Indoor Soccer Association game from the auditorium. Shots on goal already. Milwaukee up 4-3. One of those counted, a blast, a little bit wide, and cleared out of the zone by Kondrich. Kondrich pass broken up that time. And Swanson, for the Wave, kicks it across the midfield stripe, and the Wave on the attack. Salazar with a shot on goal that time, but picked up by Barbaric. Barbaric way out to Davidson. Davidson with a lead pass in the corner, and a shot and a goal. A beautiful shot and a goal by John Dolinsky off the pass from Davidson, and all of a sudden it's tied at 1 apiece. Watch this, Bob, a beautiful pass that time by Davidson.
It's what we call a splitting of the defense pass, a penetrating pass. Vic Davidson, of course, is a veteran from many campaigns in the MISL. And Johnny Dolinsky, who used to play down in Chicago Schwaben, and many Milwaukee fans know about that club, overlapped from the back and just beat his defender on the blind side.
Johnny Dolinsky, one of the top scorers in the league, and an errant shot taken that time by the Wave, and it'll be the Invaders' ball out. And the ball gets retrieved, and Helmut Immig blasts one high over the back, up into the seats here at the auditorium. A nice crowd on hand here at the Milwaukee Auditorium, cheering on their Milwaukee Wave, led by Dave the Wave. That's the guy in the Hawaiian shirt. Any relation to you, Bob?
I don't think so, although I believe he is a student at UWM, but we do dress him differently during the day.
Sure looks that way here on the attack. Immig with a left foot rocket save by Barbaric. Immig has a cannon of a left foot. The last one, as you recall, he put up in the seats. This one gave Barbaric some trouble with that blast.
Helmut is
Sedlacek coming in the corner. Now retrieved again by Sedlacek. Working down in the corner, that's Knesic. And the ball comes up near the midfield and kicked up off the glass. The Invaders on the attack once again. Irvin across to Tima. That's Tim Tima, whose older brother, Johnny Tima, used to play for the Chicago Sting in the Major Indoor Soccer League. Cox has it for the Wave. Broken up by Killingsworth. Now back on top to Irvin. 1-1 here. 7:04 to go in the opening quarter. There you see number 19, Kiel Zogarnin, one of the top players in the league. We talked about him a little bit on the pregame. Key is definitely one to watch. A blast high up wide of the scoreboard. That one really sailed. A blast taken by Tim Tima. Watch this shot.
Tim, along with his brother John, as Adrian mentioned, come from the Broadview Heights soccer factory in Ohio. And I've seen Tim with a lot of youth select teams, and it's nice to see him playing in the professional leagues here.
Matt Clark, the goalkeeper for the Milwaukee Wave, gave up 1 goal as his counterpart. Barbaric did. We've got a 1-1 score. Just under 7 minutes to go in the opening quarter at the auditorium. Adrian Sakowitz along with Bob Gansler bringing you American Indoor Soccer Association. We're glad to do it. I hope you're enjoying it. It's kind of an indoor pinball type game played with people. Ball bouncing around off the boards and getting rocketed one way and another. Now the Milwaukee Wave once again on the attack. A nice give and go. Salazar has the ball taken away. Swanson with it off the glass. A headshot that time by Hoxton didn't go. And now the Wave will try to set it up again. Tobin kicks it down into the Milwaukee Waves end. Now we'll slow it down and set it up once again. Jolinski, who scored the goal for the Invaders. Here comes Tobin. Tobin brings it down to the Milwaukee end. The Invaders still on the attack. Tobin chasing it down with Hoxton. The ball goes flying off the glass, and they'll say Milwaukee's ball. Tobin a little bit too violent on that one.
All right, Wave fans, what do you think? It's time for another Milwaukee goal?
Don Tobin, no shrinking violet out there. This is the second time he's boarded an individual, and he shows great courage by doing it right in front of the Wave bench as well.
Certainly did. Salazar trying to control for the Wave. Now he's gets it basket up. Swanson right out in front. Swanson. His shot is a little bit wide and picked up by Barbaric.
I'm sure Coach Johnson is happy to see Swanson shoot, because that's been one of the deficiencies in the game. He works very hard. He sets people up, but he's reluctant to pull the trigger. Now the Wave once again on the attack at midfield. They'll kick it back to their goalkeeper Clark, and they'll set it up once again as they change. As you know, you can only change players. When one comes out, one can come in. It's pretty similar to hockey, although I don't see them jumping over the boards too much in indoor soccer as much as they do in hockey. Well, they will when they're in a hurry, but if you can do your line changing smoothly, it's not necessary.
Kramer for the Invaders. Bring it up, cuts to the middle, a left-footed shot, saved by Matt Clark. And it clears.
Artie cut the ball back nicely with his right foot and then let it go with his left. Artie played for me on the national youth team a number of years ago, and actually was shooting at a colleague of his down from St. Louis in the goal by the name of Clark.
Most people, I would imagine, are only familiar with soccer as the outdoor game, a low-scoring, more finesse-type game played in Europe and in this country, but now indoor soccer is catching on, especially with the youth of this country. We saw beforehand in the auditorium a couple of youth teams going at it. These kids love the sport. I'll tell you, it's terrific for them, too. It's a fantastic sport, and all over the country, more and more indoor soccer stadiums are going up and leagues are growing. And I'll tell you, it is a great sport, Bob.
I believe that indoor soccer can exist as a complement to the outdoor game, especially in this part of the country. But it's even gathering momentum in Florida and California, etc. But it's a very exciting game, and anything that keeps the soccer ball in the newspapers and on the television tube is a bonus for us.
It surely is. As you can see, they put people in this auditorium. We'll talk more about the attendance figures coming up later. A steal almost, but Matt Clark in goal for the Wave. 1-1 is our score. 3 minutes, 40 seconds to go in the opening quarter. right in front of our vantage point. The ball popped up in the air and controlled by Irvin. Irvin will kick it back to Barbarick, and they'll start things off once again, moving left to right, the Invaders. That ball goes over all three lines. It'll come back in the Invaders' end, and it'll be the Waves' ball.
That three-line specification here makes the game a very compact one. You can stretch, from a coach's point of view, you like to see your attack stretched widthwise and lengthwise, and it's very difficult to stretch it lengthwise because of that restriction.
Cox runs past the ball, and Knesic takes a bullet, and that ball is hit. What a great save by Barbarick. Helmut Immig couldn't pull the trigger on that one. He had a wide-open shot, and he couldn't get it off. And I'll tell you, Barbarick came up with a splendid save off of Knesic's shot.
That was a well-executed free kick from Knesic off the boards to Cox, and Helmut would like to have that one back for sure.
A shot right out in front is a little bit wide and cleared by the Invaders. The Wave coming oh so close on two occasions. The score is tied at 1 apiece, 2:50 to go in the first quarter. Helmut Immig now backing it up once again, and the Wave will set it up again. Kicked off the near board. Got some debris out on the floor. That's why a temporary stoppage of play. What they're trying to do is fix the little tarpaulin seam here on the floor. Sometimes with a little bit too much activity on there, they can get brought up a little bit from the ground. Boy, what a flurry of activity we had just a moment ago. The Milwaukee Wave on the attack. There you see it from the free kick.
Very well conceived. Good left-footed drive by Knesic. Cox gets the rebound, and Immig got it on his wrong foot. He's a left-footed specialist, and he just couldn't put it home with that walking foot.
Great camera work on that one. You see the replay, and Barbarick came oh so close to giving up another one. Milwaukee leading 11-6 on the shots on goal, but the score is where it counts right now, and it's 1 apiece between the Wave and the Canton Invaders. It's Canton's ball. Barbarick looking to set something up now, and he'll throw one down.
Yeah, Milwaukee's playing high pressure, man-to-man, all over the field, and that forced the goalkeeper to go long, and Milwaukee made them cough the ball up out of bounds.
Now the Wave once again on the attack. Stolen by Kramer of the Invaders. Taken down that time by Reza, and the Invaders try to control. Tobin backs it up in his own end and has control for Canton. Davidson trying to drop one down. Reza picks it off to Hoxton. Hoxton working down on the corner. Now Swanson. Swanson backs things up, and the Wave stolen by Tobin of the Invaders. Reza tries to get a foot on it, can't. Swanson helps clear it back to Matt Clark. And Clark clears it all the way up to Swanson. 3-on-3 attack. Swanson with a shot. It goes off of Hoxton.
Milwaukee once again endeavoring to catch the Invaders on the transition game. Playing very well tonight. If they can sustain this, this is going to be a tremendous game.
Swanson off the board. Now bringing it down to the midfield stripe, where Duval, and that's Cox, sorry, kicks it over the sideboard, and it'll be the Invaders' ball. Just over a minute to go in the opening quarter, and the score tied at 1 apiece. Head coach of the Milwaukee Wave, Dave Johnson, looking on as his team knotted up right now with his first-place ball club. They drew first blood, the Wave scoring first, 2:43 into the contest to take the early lead. But coming right back, Canton was not to be denied. Canton scoring off of a beautiful play, knotted things up, and the Wave is now on the attack again. Sedlacek working it down, puts a shot on goal. Barbarick spears it out of the air and clears.
Both of these goalkeepers are rather tall.
Wave with a temporary break, but it's picked off in the Invaders back early on defense. Davidson. Now working. Inside, a nice give and go try that time. But it rolls right in front of the key crease, and the Wave have it on the attack. 20 seconds to go in the quarter. Helmut Immig 1-on-2. Helmut Immig's shot is blocked by Tobin. Kramer picks it up for Canton. Now Knesic has it. Knesic has it, a shot blocked. 6 seconds to go in the quarter. Knesic, a ball right in front, and broken up that time by Tobin with 2 seconds to go in the quarter. Milwaukee Wave certainly getting their shots on goal.
The positioning in front of that goal, Adrian, is very difficult because you don't know how hard the man up court is going to shoot. And Helmut was in just a little too far. For a softer shot, he would have been just right. But Knesic drove it very well, and the rebound just was too quick for Helmut.
1-1 at the end of one quarter of play. The Milwaukee Wave drawing first blood, and Canton coming right back. As we mentioned, Canton in first place in the division, 17-7. Milwaukee 9-14, but they look much better than that tonight. We'll be back with the second quarter of action right after this timeout. Milwaukee Wave averaging 2,067 fans a game, but what's more important than that is that's 52% of the capacity of the building that they play in here. Canton in second place, just behind him. Kalamazoo is in third. Kalamazoo averaging about 33% capacity in their place. Louisville in fourth. Columbus in fifth, and Chicago having some problems, not drawing too well at all, averaging only 689 fans a game. But Dave Johnson, not only is his team playing well tonight, but they've got a nice crowd on hand also at the auditorium, throwing carnations to the fans before the game. Bob, did you grab one of those?
Well, I wanted to get one for my wife. I was a little delinquent as far as the Valentine's Day present is concerned, and I was hoping I could get one and take one home to her.
We'll see what we can do for you later. Klaus DeBoer, the Canton Invaders head coach, explaining some directions at the end of one quarter to his Invaders team. 17-7 is their record so far this year. Louisville, one of their foes, only one game down to them in the loss column. That's the important column you've got to look at, because the wins can always be made up with when the schedule evens out, but the losses is where you have to look. And right now, Louisville one game back to Canton. That's why it's so important.
One of the things that you have to do well in indoor soccer is read the give-and-go situation. You had one going there from John Dolinsky to Art Kramer, who are close friends off the field as well. It didn't quite work out, but watch for those two combining again.
As we mentioned tonight, Canton's without the services of Oscar Pisano, who received his 20th penalty minute Wednesday night against Louisville. That resulted in a one-game suspension. So he's sitting out, and Boro was suspended from the Wave roster as a result of a 5-minute penalty he received against Kalamazoo, so he is not in the game either, as some last-minute repairs are made to the goal. Looks like it's in order now, and we'll be back in the second quarter of action as soon as the referees come back to midfield and get everything coordinated with the timer and get things underway. Peter Knesic comes into tonight's game looking to be the first Wave player to score 40 points. He has 39 points so far, 14 goals, 25 assists. Knesic is followed by Tim Sedlacek, who has 34 points. Now the Wave on the attack. The Wave, the first shot, Barbaric with a great save to his left.
Steve Westbrook, and he almost set one up, but he just about scored with a left-footed drive. It might even have been a toe poke, but as long as it gets there, that's the important thing.
Helmut Immig taking that left footer, Immig number 10, but it's knocked down before it has a chance to be on goal. Now Killingsworth and Cox doing battle on the far boards. Cox comes away with it to Knesic, number 5 for the Wave, to Sedlacek. Back to Knesic, trying to look for an opening down on the left side. Now Cox has it. Cox feeding to Knesic on the left side. There's a blast taken that time, but it just goes wide of the net.
That was by Sedlacek. Well set up by Peter Knesic. He is the premier assist man in the league, and I've seen Peter play for the last 10 years at every kind of level, and he's an excellent player.
Well, you see 1-1's the score in the first quarter, 12-6. Milwaukee out shooting Canton. Saves 5-3 in favor of Canton. Even ball game except for the shots, but Milwaukee taking a lot of shots, not able to connect more than once. 1-1 is the score. Kia kind of upset about that call. He thought he should have gotten the ball going his way, but Matt Clark for the Wave will clear it. For the Wave on the attack, moving now from our left to our right.
There was definitely a high kick on Kia down at the other end. I don't think he had any gripes coming.
Now the Invaders on the attack. That's Lola. Lola with some fancy footwork to Kia. Kia with a shot. A beautiful pass to Ken Killingsworth. What looked to be a shot was a great pass to Killingsworth, who was standing unchecked right outside the Milwaukee Wave goal, and it went right past Matt Clark. He was dead to rights on this one. Watch this one being set up.
There's a classic interpretation here of a 3 versus 2. You take the ball to a defender, you isolate, you knock it wide, and you penetrate between the two defenders. And Kenny Lola and Killingsworth and Kia did that in an excellent fashion.
Matt Clark really has nothing to be upset about. It was not his fault. The defense was not back. Whenever a man is standing wide open in front of the goal, somebody is supposed to be on him. He's not the goalie's responsibility. And as it stands, Matt Clark gets beaten with that shot off of a beautiful pass from Kia.
The Invaders are a very good passing team. They move the ball better one time than Milwaukee has shown so far.
2-1 now is the score in favor of Canton. Duval picks it off, and Matt Clark clears for the Wave. Matt Clark, the goalie for the Wave. Mike Barbarick, the goalie, the leading goalie in the league, is the goalkeeper for Canton. Duval knocks it down into the Canton zone. Fight in the corner, brought out in front. Reza kicks it wide of the goal. Now Tobin has it for the Canton Invaders. Out to Kramer. Kramer back to Tobin, kicks it off of Swanson and gets back control of it to Davidson. Now streaking down the side is Dolinsky, who already has a goal tonight, and Davidson puts one right on Clark's hands, and he saves it. Hodgson in control now for the Wave. Reza Namin out in front. A shot deflected that time by Tobin. And Dolinsky running all the way down, gets tripped up that time by Namin, and it'll be Canton's ball.
Yeah. Johnny Dolinsky overlaps very well. That means a defender coming out of the back to attack. Of course, Johnny in his younger days was a left wing, so moving up, scoring goals is nothing new to him. He scored one in the first quarter, as you remember.
Swanson crosses the midfield stripe for the Wave as the teams are changing lines. Now back to Clark. Clark, a dangerous pass right out front. Dolinsky waiting for the ball to come down. Turns around, passes to Davidson, who puts it in. What a beautiful defensive play that time by Dolinsky and Davidson. Matt Clark wandering way too far from the Milwaukee goal. He's upset. The ball comes flying right by us here. Matt Clark upset, giving up his third goal of the game. And it's all because Matt Clark wanders too far, and Dolinsky is on the spot, picks it off.
Well, Matt had no option. He had to come out. It was sort of a tentative pass back by Reza Amin, and there's nothing else that the goalkeeper could do. But you must give the Invaders credit as well, because they capitalize every time that Milwaukee makes a mistake.
A beautiful pass, and Davidson puts it home. The ball was partially blocked, but still made it in the nets, and it's a 3-1 lead in favor of the Canton Invaders with 11:32 to go in the first half.
If this were basketball, this is the time a coach would call for a timeout to settle his team down a little bit. Milwaukee's parking the ball into the second tier here. They've just got to relax. There's a long way to go, and very few indoor games are won by 3 goals.
That certainly is true. You can make up a deficit in a hurry, so a lot of time left. Now a deadly shot on goal that time, and Barbarick spears it. Unable to get the trigger was Helmut Kinnig. And Barbarick clears way down to the other side, and Matt Clark will take this one. Try to get a drive going for the Wave, who are down 3-1 here. 10:50 to go in the first half. A blast, and Barbarick with a great save deflects it high above the goal. Stretching Barbarick to the limits on this one. Watch this blast by Tim Sedlacek.
Anything high is not going to give Barbaric or Clark that much difficulty. I started to comment on that earlier. Both of these goalkeepers seem rather tall. Usually the indoor keepers are smaller because it's a reaction type of situation. But they seem to be able to handle the ball down on the carpet as well as up in the air. Certainly up in the air.
As you can see why Barbaric is such a great goalie. Doesn't give up too many goals and has a 13-5 record so far for this first-place Canton Invader team. It'll be the Waves ball. Right out in front of the Canton goal.
You can see the difference of the way a goalkeeper must play a corner kick indoor and outdoor. Indoor, he plays the near post. Outdoor, you play about, a couple of steps off your far post. You must figure with that arome off the backboard, and this is why he must come up.
Now a shot goes wide. The Wave controls right out in front. A shot is wide that time. Westbrook will take the free kick for the Milwaukee Wave. There he goes, blasted right out. A beautiful save that time, and a shot goes high and wide.
The youngsters will be able to pick up that Sedlacek was leaning back on that shot, and that's why it went high. Granted, the indoor goal is a little lower than the outdoor goal, but that would have cleared the outdoor bar as well. The key is to keep your head over the ball.
Sedlacek gives back to Barbaric. Barbaric decides to pick it up, and he's going to fling it down the field right past Davidson's head. Knezic's tracking it down, gives to Matt Clark. The Wave in white, down 3-1. Here at the Milwaukee Auditorium in American Indoor Soccer Association action. Gonna fight for the ball. Now controlled by Knezic. Knezic to Cox. Cox right out in front and fanning on the shot. A shot deflected right by
Sedlacek.
Now Sedlacek once again trying to drop the ball down low. Broken up. Kramer on the attack. Kramer one-on-one. Kramer trying to get past the defender. It wouldn't go. And Matt Clark picks it off for the Wave.
Artie Kramer being upset. He thought there was a handball in there, but we have two very good officials out on that floor, and Carl Beck and Al Klonitis, two veterans from Chicago, and I believe them.
So do I. Kramer off the board, right out in front. Nobody checks Davidson. Now they pick it up. Tobin has it. Tobin's shot is blocked by Cox. Now on the attack, Salazar now, Immig picks it up. Immig has it. Immig with a shot out in front. A great save by Barbaric. Salazar can't connect either. Tobin clears.
That situation was tailor-made for Helmut Immig, who has a very potent left foot. He cut back across the grain, and he launched a rocket, but Barbaric was equal to the task.
Urban brings it back to Tobin. 8:45 to go in the second quarter. The Milwaukee Wave down 3-1. Now here's Kia. Kia gets the ball taken away by Reza. Now picked off by Lola. Lola with a shot off the board, standing planted out in front that time, but not able to get a hold of the ball was Kenny Killingsworth. Now Hodgson has it for the Wave, cutting in the front.
Nice give and go between David Hodgson and Peter Knesic there to get into the attacking zone.
Reza with a shot high over the board, and the Invaders will have the ball. There you see Reza Namin from Tehran, Iran.
There's the replay on Helmut Immig's shot. It was a takeover with not Sedlacek, but John Salazar, and Helmut drove it very well, but it was a good play offensively and defensively. Good save by Barbaric as well.
Killingsworth taken down on that play. It'll be the Invaders' ball. A shot out front by Urban goes over the glass.
Another
was deflected, though. It'll be Canton's ball.
Yeah, another potent left foot there on Urban.
Matt Clark 0-2 so far in the year with a goals against of 3.5. There you see Hoxton. Hoxton trying to work 1-on-2, coming right up the gut, taking it down to the corner. Hoxton knocks it off the board. Still fighting for it. Now the ball is taken away. Kia has it for the Invaders. Now stolen back by Swanson.
David Hoxton is a very good indoor player because he has the upper body strength as well as the regular abilities that a good soccer player needs. David was an excellent wrestler in high school.
Swanson's shot is picked up out of the air by Barbaric. As the second line is now on for the Milwaukee Wave, giving the opening team a little bit of a breather. Starting on a fly, a shot taken by Irvin. Blasted off the head that time.
There's that rocket. Excuse me, Adrian. There's that rocket again by Irvine. Irvine's brother is an All-American at UCLA, and Irvine has played with our Olympic team. And you can see why the young man has gathered all those accolades.
There you see the leading scorers in the AISA, and you take a look in the italics. You see the players playing in tonight's game, 3 and 4, Kramer and Kia, 3 and 4 with the average points per game and a shot going wide. Kanasic playing for the Milwaukee Wave, number 7, and Sedlacek, number 9 right now in the league. So you've got 4 of the top 10 scorers in the league playing right on this surface at the auditorium tonight. 3-1 is the score. 7:11 to go in the second quarter. The Wave trailing at this point. Swanson drops the ball down to Hoxton. Hoxton is taken down, and the Wave will still be in control.
Let's see what Swanson and the Wave comes up with. The previous free kick in a similar position was very well conceived.
Swanson flagging it down for the Wave. Broken up that time by Davidson. Davidson clears back in the Invader zone. And Barbaric once again. Barbaric bringing it out himself. That's how Matt Clark got burned earlier in the second quarter. 3-1 is the score. Barbaric once again taking the ball down himself. Picked off this time by Swanson of the Wave. Swanson dropping it down to Reza. Reza, turnaround shot by Salazar, didn't go. Swanson has it, trying to get around his man. Swanson is taken down, no call, and the Wave will track it down.
Johnny Salazar had an excellent moment there. He's from Horlick High School in Kenosha, and a nice turnaround full volley. It's a shame it didn't go in the back of the net.
Now the same team that started for the Wave is back on the field. And that shot goes high and wide, and it'll be the Invaders' ball.
I believe Steve Westbrook wanted to bank it off the opposite boards to rebound for Sedlacek, but he just got under it a little bit.
Dave Johnson eyeing the situation with 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Not only is he the coach, he's the general manager. Means an awful lot to this Milwaukee Wave team, who was 9-7 at one point. Now they've lost 7 in a row, and they're at 9-14, having some problems as of late, but they'd like to turn things around tonight in front of a nice crowd here at the auditorium.
David, of course, was with Memphis in the MISL, and he gathered invaluable experience there. And I believe the Wave will make the playoffs.
As we just saw, Bob, Milwaukee with 9 more shots on goal than the Canton Invaders, but a lot of their shots are going high and wide. And just not getting the break so far, and that's partially due to some great goaltending by Barbaric.
Great goaltending by Barbaric, and also Helmut Immig.
What a shot and a goal that time. A beautiful shot by Tim Sedlacek. Got it past Barbaric. Barbaric got a piece of it, but it wasn't enough. Sedlacek from Seattle, Washington, knocking it home to cut the lead down to 3-2. And let's take a look at how this play developed.
Sedlacek is moving to his right. The goalkeeper must slide along. And then Sedlacek cut the ball back to his own left, and he caught Barbaric on the wrong foot.
Beautiful shot by Sedlacek. 26 goals on the year, 8 assists. He's taken a lot of shots. Now this is his 27th that was coming into tonight, so Sedlacek takes the score. Canton 3 and the Wave 2 with 5:22 to go in the first half. all of a sudden the Wave right back in this game, only one down, and you see how fast things can turn around here. That Clark goes down to the ball, booted high up into the stands that time. And the players for Canton are claiming that there should be a delay of game penalty for booting it high and wide, but they won't get the call. It'll just be the Canton Invaders ball out.
Klaus de Boer has made an interesting lineup change in this line. He brought in Steve Frick, number 3, a very quick young man.
Salazar in the corner to Hodgson. Hodgson taken to the ground, and it'll be Milwaukee's possession.
All right, Milwaukee, how about another goal? What do you think?
There you see Hodgson blocking the ball down in the corner and getting taken down with Swanson trailing the play. And Milwaukee's ball, Barbaric spears that shot out of the air by Reza. 3-2. Canton with still that 1-goal lead. 4:47 to go in the first half. Dolinski right off the free kick. Matt Clark on the save all the way down to Swanson. Swanson getting around his man. One-on-one with Barbaric. A great save by Barbaric once again, and Tobin picks it up for the Invaders. Here comes Tobin, a 3-on-2 break. Now Hodgson coming back down on the play and cleared out. And at midfield, it's Salazar. Salazar 2-on-2. Swanson on the right side. Swanson will be flagging this ball down, and it's picked up by the Invaders. Coming up at halftime, we'll be talking to Tony Ramos, the owner and president of the Milwaukee Wave. All that coming up 4:10 from right now. Raul Galvan, our producer director, had a chance to chat with Tony right before the game, and we'll be hearing that interview shortly. That shot goes off the post, and the Wave in control.
Vic Davidson, the crafty veteran, is playing that center forward spot very well, posting up and laying balls back for the likes of Tobin to wail on goal.
Reza now has it. Raisin around Dolinski. Raisin with the shot on goal. It's blocked. Reza again just wide of the net. Hodgson controlling. Hodgson's pass is stolen by Tobin, and Tobin has control for the Invaders.
Reza started the game in a very tentative fashion, but he's coming on now. He was one of the young men, of course, that was hurt rather badly in that accident.
That shot deflected just wide of the goal, and the Wave on the attack with Salazar. Hodgson on the right side. Salazar gives it to him. Right back, right in front. Salazar couldn't get a foot on it, and Barbaric has the rebound on the save. John Salazar just unable to put the foot on it with some great defensive pressure on him, and Barbaric kicks it out of the air. 3 minutes to go in the first half.
You had a 3-on-2. The Invaders had one on the other end and cashed in. Milwaukee didn't. John probably penetrated a little bit too much down the middle after his pass, and that's why he couldn't get the shot up.
Sedlacek going down on the play, and it'll be the Waves' ball. Knezich starting off the attack for the Wave. To Cox. Back to Knezich. Trying to be a little bit of a give and go. Right inside, Barbaric picks it up because Helmut Immig was right on him.
It was a nice passing sequence by the Wave, initiated as almost always by Peter Knezich.
3-2, Canton on top, and you know it's going to take more than 3 goals to win this game, so both teams applying a lot of pressure. Last 2 games these 2 teams played here with 7-6 decisions. A lot of goals to come. You can bank on it here at the auditorium for the American Indoor Soccer Association game.
Contrast in styles is pretty evident. The Invaders trying to do things in a slow manner, build things up. Milwaukee definitely looking for the break, for the transition type of game.
Those are the kind of teams that Milwaukee has trouble with, those teams with those great attackers and that can set things up and beat you on their great plays and persistency. Right out in front, Kia's shot goes high over the board.
What is it?
Kia planted roots right out in front and was wide open, but knocked it high and wide.
Tim Tima had a good shot at goal, and Kia with very good reaction timed his run well. I think what makes Canton so imposing here is that they get good scoring from front runners like Kia, from midfielders like Kramer, and even from defenders like Dolinski. And in the indoor game, it's the all-around individual that is going to shine.
1:22 in the first half. The Wave steals right out in front. Knesic, a turnaround. His shot is blocked and goes in the stands quickly. Got to be very careful on the sides here. When there is no glass, the ball can be deflected and come up at you in a hurry, as was the case there.
Well, it gives you a chance to work on your head ball.
That's right. It only hit Dave the Wave, so that's no loss, huh?
For certain. Not much damage there.
1:19 to go in the second quarter. The Wave down at this point. They drew first blood. Swanson now brings it to Reza. Reza to Hodgson. Hodgson turns around in the middle. Hodgson trying to work around. Gets the shot off. Barbaric with the save. Now the Invaders on the attack. Planting himself down is Killingsworth. Killingsworth trying to look inside. Key has got an advantage on his man, but wasn't able to get the ball from Killingsworth. Now once again, right out in front, Kia, as I just mentioned, was working his man over, getting the position, and that time Killingsworth was able to get Kia the ball, and just like that, Kia is able to pop it home, planting himself right out in front, wide open with 53 seconds to go in the second quarter.
Good positioning by the young man again. He leaves his defender, and then he pops into the penetrated space, and he puts it home.
Great camera work you see on that one. Kia just slipping right by his man, just long enough to take the pass from Killingsworth, and 4-2. Canton in front of this game.
I was impressed with Kia's work on that because it was work off the ball. He's one of the 4 teenagers in this league, and he plays with the savvy of a veteran.
He certainly is a top pro. You can bank on that. He's got all the moves. He's quick, and he knows where to plant himself to get those goals. Tobin with 25 seconds to go in the second quarter. Down to Kramer. Kramer to Davidson. Davidson, the give and go back to Kramer. Off the board, trying to cut in front is Davidson, but he was held up by Hodgson. No call made. The clock winding down. 6 seconds. Hodgson, the shot on net. Barbaric easily spears it out of the air. Barbaric all the way down, and that's the end of the first half here from the Milwaukee Auditorium, as Kia, with that last goal, gets his Canton Invaders team a 4-2 edge here at the Auditorium. American Indoor Soccer Association action. We'll be right back right after this message. Fans on hand, as you see, at halftime here at the Milwaukee Auditorium. Canton in front of the Milwaukee Wave, 4-2 in the AISA soccer game. 4-2 is the score. Adrian Sackowitz along with Bob Gansler. Our halftime guest, Tony Ramos, the president of the Milwaukee Wave. Raul Galvan caught up to him and was able to do this interview. Raul?
Okay, thanks, Adrian. Tony, tell me a little bit about the concept of the AISA.
The AISA is it's an acronym. It's the stand for the American Indoor Soccer Association. The whole purpose of the league is to develop American talent at home. And we differ from the MISL in that we do not import players. We take what is here at home and develop the talent and hopefully give it a future.
You've used a lot of Milwaukee players. Have the other teams around the league been such strong supporters of local talent?
I don't think, well, Milwaukee's a different marketplace and is a hotbed of soccer on its own without the soccer being successful. I think Milwaukee knows that it's a soccer town, but they're not aware of how much talent they have here. So we, as the Wave, have taken more hometown players, so to speak, than other teams in the league.
Okay, you're near the top of the league or at the top of the league in attendance. When you started back in November, did you have any idea that it would be this successful?
Well, I'm fairly confident myself. I haven't reached my goal. I've come pretty close. There's still room for progress, so.
What do you see as the future of your franchise?
Well, I think for the next, well, considering this year, I think after this year and 2 more years, I think if I can build a broad enough base, I think we'll have a good franchise here in Milwaukee and something to look forward to in the future. Right now, we're averaging attendance around anywhere between 2,720, 2,000. And I think by the end of the year, we should be averaging 27, and hopefully in the near future, we'll be, next year and the following year, we should be averaging either 3,000 or close to capacity here in the auditorium.
How'd you get involved in this venture?
Well, I got involved through the Chicago franchise, and I was introduced to the league through the principal owners in Chicago, and one being my father, 1/3 stockholder. And my involvement started the day I found the brochure on the league and sat down and started reading, and I saw a lot of potential.
Why didn't you go into fast food franchises or something else? What made indoor soccer something as risky as a minor league franchise that had never been done before? What made it such attractive to you?
Well, I'm a little bit crazy, I guess, at times. I started working in Mexico on my own for a while, and I was starting my own mining company with my uncle. Spent a lot of time doing a lot of research, sitting down reading, going out in the fields working, and I would say a lot of risk was involved with that. And coming back to Milwaukee here and working with a franchise, this is easy. There's a lot of work involved. My social life, my life in itself, I've pretty much sacrificed, but I enjoy what I'm doing and I love working.
Okay, one last question. Around the league, is everybody happy with the response? I see your dad's franchise in Chicago's hovering around the 1,000 mark attendance. How are the other franchises doing?
Well, Chicago's a specific case where there are legal problems, and there's going to be time spent in court with that franchise. It's separate, and it's a separate case from the league, and I wouldn't associate it with the other 5 teams. I think as it stands now, we have 5 strong teams in the league. We're looking for further expansion next year.
Okay, Tony, thank you for allowing us in tonight. We really look forward to the second half of play, and we'll be back with the second half of play in just a moment.
Raul Galvan, thank you very much, our producer-director. Chatting with Tony Ramos, the owner and president of the Milwaukee Wave here at the Milwaukee Auditorium. We're at halftime. We'll be back with the second half of all this action on indoor soccer right after this timeout. Welcome back to the Milwaukee Auditorium. Adrian Sakowitz along with Bob Gansler. The halftime statistics. Canton outscoring Milwaukee 4-2, but Milwaukee doubling the Invaders in shots, 34-17. Thus Canton having more saves, 12-5. No penalties so far. Bob, that's almost unbelievable when you consider in the first 2 games these 2 teams played, there were a total of 26 right here at this auditorium, and none so far. A clean game, an aggressive game. Canton out in front 4-2 as we begin the third quarter.
I think it's a tribute to the players, but also a tribute to the officials who put their stamp on the game early by calling things tight. And actually, I prefer this kind of ball. The more skill, the better I like it. Should be a game of technicians, not a game of thugs.
In case you just joined us, this is American Indoor Soccer Association action from the auditorium. The Milwaukee Wave, the Milwaukee entry in this league, wearing the white shirts with the blue trunks. The Canton Invaders, the first place team in the league, 17-7 their mark so far, donned in red tonight. 9 fouls for Canton, 5 for Milwaukee. Milwaukee on the attack. That's Sedlacek. Sedlacek working on Davidson. Now the ball dropped way back out in front. Action underneath. Helmet Immig's shot is stopped that time by Barbaric. Barbaric, a great goalkeeper, leading the American Indoor Soccer Association, giving up just over 5 goals a game. A blast that time by Sedlacek. It goes wide.
Well set up from Cox to Immig, back to Sedlacek. Well-conceived offense.
Davidson coming down. Matt Clark has a little bit of trouble with that one, but finally picks it up and clears it out front. Immig drops it all the way across to Sedlacek. Now back in the Milwaukee end, off the near board.
Canton has changed its game defensively. They're coming high pressure. Now they're dropping back a little bit, but they did none of this in the first half. In the first half, they sat back in the zone. They're picking up much higher now.
Milwaukee has already changed their line. Hodgson is now on. Reza has the ball. Reza now back out to Swanson. Swanson trying to work on Kramer, decides against it and drops it back to Duval. Duval's pass is picked off by Kramer. Kramer and Dolinsky working a 2-on-3 break. Now they think better of it and bring it back out to Davidson, back way out to Tobin.
Canton is backing up and trying to pull Milwaukee apart, trying to isolate one-on-one.
Dolinsky broken up by Reza. Reza all the way on goal. Barbaric with a great save coming out, and Lola picks it up for the Invaders. Reza coming all the way down, getting a one-on-one attempt at Barbaric, but he only had a split second, and Barbaric cutting down the angle made the stop. There's Kia with a shot all the way down. Matt Clark picks it up off the deflection from Swanson. 12 minutes to go in the third quarter. Canton out in front, 4-2.
Let's get it going now. Come on.
There's Swanson for the Wave. Now Swanson will leave on the line change. Salazar. Killingsworth has it now. Killingsworth going up the middle. Killingsworth trying to work 2-on-3. Now Lola across the midfield stripe, back to his own red line is Irvin. Irvin knocks it down in the Milwaukee end. Battle for it.
Canton has changed their game completely, offensively and defensively. Offensively, they're trying to pull Milwaukee apart and trying to dump balls in long, as Irvine just did right there, because they know Milwaukee is coming high pressure. And defensively, Canton is high pressuring themselves. Very shrewd manipulating by Klaus de Boer, the Canton coach.
Now picked up, and down goes Cox for the Wave, and we have our first penalty of the ball game. First penalty of the game. Looks like it's assessed against Kia as Michael Cox went down hard.
I believe both players got it out, Adrian. I didn't see the confrontation, but
Kia is definitely going to the penalty box for Canton, and Cox is getting sent there also for the Milwaukee Wave, offsetting penalties. Kia Zolgarnin showing the referee his lip, saying he got hit pretty hard on that one. Upset at getting sent away for 2 minutes. Kia having a good game so far, and a goal and assist. 4 shots taken, connected on one of them, so Kia and Cox go away for unsportsmanlike conduct. 2 minutes apiece, so it kind of thins out the playing surface. You obviously cannot replace these players during these 2 minutes, and as it stands, 4-on-4 now with a goalie apiece for both of these clubs. A lot of room out there. Immig dropping it off that time for Kanasic. Back to Immig, a head pass back for Kanasic. Turns around the left foot, fakes it. Now it's picked up by Tobin. Tobin clears down on the far board to Art Kramer. Kramer on the attack, a lot of room. Kramer shot just wide. That blast on the rebound went by Kondrich. Couldn't get the foot on it. And back on the attack, the Wave.
with more room, the better one-on-one players are obviously going to dominate.
Sedlacek across